Lose like one sleep.
It's against the book. It's against the regulations.
All right, get out your homework. Where did Anna go? I thought she was just here.
No. Wait, is Anna gone? Oh no, I saw her. There's only one thing.
My
No, there's another one somewhere around here. In the ninth grade.
No, we're talking about like other class.
Just one in here.
Or I know where it is. There's no Ryland today classes.
Yes, there is.
Why? One challenge.
In 8th grade. Another round is 8 or 7.
Is there any other Tristans?
No.
I'm
You broke them all. I have a couple Rileys. I have no Pipers other than Piper. I have plenty of land.
I'm the only unique one.
You're the tallest one.
the unique one here.
I got a couple Lilies. I got one Porter. I got a couple Chris's. I have one Josie.
Wait, how many of you do you have?
Only one pipe.
There's only one here. Well, there's a couple of different variations of K pilots, so that's why I can never get your name. All right, quiet, please. Take seats.
Same.
No,
just hit
we gotta get
room
going. We gotta get going. All right. Questions on the homework? Questions on the homework?
28.
28? All right, let's take a look at number 28. So we're simply asked to find the, well, basically it's the common denominator. They call it the least common multiple, or the lowest common denominator, LCD. All right. The first fraction is 9 over x squared, and the second fraction is 2 over xy. I said these come in two flavors.
Okay.
The first flavor is there's no addition or subtraction in the denominator. The second one is there is addition and subtraction in the denominator. It doesn't have any addition and subtraction. What would that look like? You would say something like x squared plus 1 in the denominator. That's flavor 2. Flavor number 1 is there's no addition or subtraction. Okay? So the rule is this. I look at the numbers, and I pick the common denominator of the numbers. Hey, there's actually no numbers here except for 1, right? Now 1 and 1, 1. So there's no numbers to deal with. We look at the variables. And the rule is I want every variable to its highest power. I got an x and an x. Which one is the highest power?
X squared.
I want an x squared. I just got to want, I don't care that this one doesn't have y. I want every variable to its highest power. There's only one y, and it's to the first power, so there's a common denominator. That's the whole thing, by the way. That's the answer right there. You just ask what the common denominator is. X squared y.
Can you do 30? Yeah, 30.
All right, 30. So 30 is one of those ones where we have some addition or subtraction going on. It turns out I'm going to skip the numerator. If it's just what is the common denominator, I don't care what's on top. I will today because we're doing the actual adding and subtraction today. But for last night's homework, all I care about is what's in the denominator, right? The rule for when you have addition and subtraction is I want everything to the highest power. I got a b plus 5, I want it. What do I mean by highest power? Well, if this one was that and a b plus 5 to the second power, that has a b plus 5, that has a b plus 5, I would pick the one to the highest power. So in this case, as I wrote it, it would be b plus 5 squared. But it doesn't have a b plus 5. Just have, on this side, it just has a b plus 5. So I want it. So I want a b plus 5, put it in parentheses. There's got a b minus 5. I want everything. So I want it too.
That's it, like it's just
That's it.
Okay.
Right? the thing is, today is, I mean, yesterday's homework is kind of,
That's it.
that's it, right there, that's the answer. That's the common denominator.
Spells BTS.
Today is when we're going to use this stuff. So today is the ugly day, right? It's the actual, now we're going to add and subtract, right? But yesterday was just come up with a common denominator. All right, here we go. Number 2 is 12. Number 4 is 6a. Number 6 is 5 times the quantity. That means it's in parentheses, 2n minus 5. Number 8 is 12a squared. Number 10 is 20m squared n. Kristen, what are you doing? Number 12 is 4 times the quantity x minus 1. Number 14 is 2y times the quantity 3y minus 2. Number 16 is 6. Number 18 is 5 times the quantity n plus 3. Number 20 is 2x squared. Number 22 is 40. Number 24 is 36. Number 26 is 60. Number 28 we just did, x squared y. Number 30, e plus 5b minus 5. And 32 is a minus 1, a minus 2. 32 was the hardest one because you had to do some factoring. All right. Hey, today is a butt kicker. It's a butt kicker. If you don't do the work, you won't get this. If you sit there, as some of you do, and watch me do all the work, you're not going to get this. You got to do the work. And I'm probably making this because some of you are like, well, this isn't that bad. And okay, it truly isn't too bad, but it's a lot of calculations. But adding, subtracting, this is why it's at the end of the chapter. I mean, multiplying, dividing, it's easy. Adding, subtracting is the hard one.
Okay,
All right.
Sure. Yay. Can it trip me?
All right, let's unfreeze. To remind you, since Julie remembers none of this, hey, somebody grab that from Julie. Somebody grab that from Julie. And now, Julie, you sit down and you watch the slides. Because you didn't remember any of this. Okay, once again, this is how it works. Not Monday, we're going to do 6.7 on Monday, but the following Monday, when you come here during 5th period, we're going to do a semester review file. We're also going to do a semester review next Friday. Okay? We're also going to do a semester review next Thursday. Okay? So Thursday, Friday, Monday, we're going to do a review. So let's see, we've done chapters, well, up to now, 1 through 6. So we'll review chapters 1 and 2 here. I will give you a multiple choice test on Thursday, except it'll be a practice test. It will look exactly like the real test that I give you the following Wednesday. Okay, it's 100 total questions on the test. So whatever a third of 100 is, 33. I'll give you about probably 50 questions for practice, right, on chapters 1 and 2. Hey, you guys are doing some tough, challenging stuff. Chapter 1 and 2 should be like nothing. Should be no surprises. It should be easy stuff. We'll do chapters 3 and 4 here. We'll do 5 and 6 here. Okay, each day I'll give you about 50 question multiple choice practice test with the answers for you to do in class and to ask me questions. The stuff that I think we need to review, I will review. But for the most part, I will be handing you a practice test and say, go for it. Ask me questions when you run into something you don't remember. Granted, for the big stuff, I will have to remind you on some things, but I won't remind you on most. We're not going over how to solve a 2-step equation, I'll tell you that much. You're expected to know how to do that. But there's a couple things I'll remind you of. So on the semester final week, that day is a full day, not a half day, full day on that Monday. Periods 7 and 8 no longer exist. You will go to your, what is it? Latin, you'll take your semester final, period 7 and 8. That is the rest of the day.
Yo.
Normal days, normal day, normal day.
We're gonna have
Say again?
we're gonna have to review.
Yeah, we're gonna do reviews. That'll be chapters 5 and 6.
All the classes is reviewing.
You got to ask those teachers. I'll just say it. Your core classes, absolutely, you'll be reviewing. Okay. For the rest of the week, that's Tuesday through Thursday. Every day you come to school, you go to your student advisement for 30 minutes. Maybe do some last minute cramming. Maybe just sit there and chill, right? All right. Then you go and you take your semester final, right? 90 minutes. And then you go back to your student advisement after the test, after the 90 minutes are up. And then you eat a snack, chillax a little bit, or study for your next final. Hey, there are plenty of smart kids in this class, and there's plenty of kids that just kind of sit around, right? If you're that kid that just kind of sits around, do not disturb the people that are studying, right? Let them study, right? There's plenty of kids in here that we're getting kind of words from either them or from their parents that some of you people are disturbing them in their ability to study, right? So let them study, right? Yeah, and then you're going to go take your second final, and then it'll be noon, and you'll go home. If you have all your finals done by Thursday, that's it. You don't come to school on Friday, right? If you, obviously, some of you will have somebody will have an orthodontist appointment or something, or they're sick, right? Whatever you miss, you got to make it up on Friday, okay? So if you have that appointment and you missed one, then you're going to come to school, take that one final, and go home. You're not going to wait till 12 to go home, unless your parents say, well, we don't have a ride for it. You got to wait till 12 because you younger sister or brother, that sort of thing. The entire school on this Friday is a half day, right? So yeah. Julie, you can remember it now? Okay, we'll do it again tomorrow.
No. She wants me to pay attention. I will remember it. No.
Okay.
No, you won't.
All right, copy down your homework.
I can't.
Hey, many of these are easy if you pay attention today. None of them are easy if you pay no attention. I'm going to end on a really, really bad example.
Okay.
And it's simply just to show you what some of this turns into. I actually didn't assign, I'm looking at this real quickly to make sure I'm not lying. I actually didn't assign a single one like the last one we'll do in class. Because the last one that we do in class is going to just expose you to how ugly adding and subtracting can be. The rest of them are pretty generic. There's only a few of them that are really easy, but most of them are pretty challenging. Multiply and divide, it's no big deal. Dividing, you just got to remember copy dot flip, and you multiply straight across, do some cross canceling, life is good. Everything that we've done so far in this chapter builds up to today, which is adding, subtracting. Turns out that's the hardest one to do. And I don't mean by hard by like it's, I can't wrap my head around what's going on. It's easy to wrap your head around. It's the same thing you've been doing since 4th grade, adding fractions. But they're polynomials. As you saw last night, you get some really weird common denominators. That sometimes are variable expressions, x minus 5 times x plus 5. That's your common denominator. That's the thing you got to mess with. That's why this turns into a big hot mess. Okay, so adding, subtracting fractions. We're going to do that today, and we have 2 days of it, I think. No, we just have 1 day of it, and tomorrow we do something. I will probably not teach you guys. There's something called polynomial division. Oh, no, it's really cool, but I will probably just do a practice day of what we're doing today tomorrow. The polynomial division is called synthetic division. It's fine. But you'll get it again in Algebra 2 and if you take pre-calculus, and you'll be fine in those classes. But I think it's more important that we ensure that we absolutely 100% can add and subtract polynomials. All right, here we go. The last class we found the lowest common denominator or the least common denominator or the common denominator. Today we're going to use that to add and subtract fractions. All right, to remind you, right, you've already wrote this down once. If you want to write down, you can. You don't have to. These come in 2 flavors, right? The flavors where there's no adding or subtracting in the denominator, and there's the ones that you do. When there's no adding or subtracting, you take the numbers, those are the coefficients, and you find the LCD of them, and then every variable to its highest power. When there is adding and subtracting going on, you factor first. then you pick one of everything to its highest power. I will be so glad when this is over.
Probably won't be over till next year.
Yeah. And then you guys will be able to say to your grandchildren, I remember when.
You can't go to Algebra.
I can be alive.
I went through a whole pandemic. You'll be fine.
Our teachers made us wear 6 masks.
6 masks. If they made us wear 6 masks, I think.
I had one kid this morning show with 4 masks on.
What?
I would have done that. I mean, I'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry.
He was doing it just to show off, but he did. It was 7th grade. They like that kind of stuff. All right. So this is the easy part, right? The actual application to do it. Sounds easy, but it just gets messy. Okay, so here we go. This is an easy one. Hey, what do you notice immediately? Well, we got common denominators. So when you have common denominators, what do? You just do whatever it says right here, and you rewrite the denominator. Okay, this is the easy one. There are a few of these tonight for homework, but not many. All right, so Aiden, what's the answer? Very close. Perfect, good job. Okay, no big deal there, except that that's not the answer. What did he forget?
Reduce.
He forgot last step is reduce.
Oh.
What goes into 8 and 16?
C over 2.
8, right? So what's the final answer?
E over 2.
C over 2. Okay. So you guys should have been able to do that one all by yourself. That's not a big deal, right? The but here is that you got to be careful when there's subtraction involved. Here's what I mean. Okay. You ready? This is hard. You see the subtraction? Previous one was addition, right? Nothing to worry about with addition with common denominators. When there's subtraction, whether you have common denominators or not, it's more challenging. Hey, I got common denominators. So all I really need to do is take this thing, which is 5x plus 4, and subtract 3x minus 8. There's a problem with that. I'm not subtracting the 3. I'm not subtracting the x. I'm subtracting the whole darn thing. Anybody got an idea?
I think I know what it is.
Did you want to guess first? What do you think?
I think it's 2x minus 4 over 10.
Yeah, but the procedure. When we subtract, what do we got to do?
Gotta do 5x minus 3x and 4 minus 8.
What?
Common whatever.
Here's what you got to do. You take the top, and you take this top, and you subtract them. But that means take this whole thing, and from that subtract this whole thing. In other words, I mean that.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait.
You see what I did? I put parentheses around the second thing. Because I'm not subtracting the 3x, I'm subtracting 3x minus 8. What does this minus sign do in front of this parentheses?
It makes everything negative.
Well, let's just say it flips everything. I'm not going to say it makes everything negative. Well, in this case, it might be true, but no, it's not in this case. It could make everything negative, but I would rather say it flips every sign. Subtraction is the one that will kick your butt, even when there's common denominators. What you got to do is you got to take everything in the numerator and write the opposite. So this is no longer a 3x, it's a, this is no longer minus 8, it's a, see what I did?
And then you combine.
Now we combine like terms.
So it would be 2x plus 12.
So 5x and a minus 3x would be 2x, and a 4 and an 8 would be a 12.
So, oh, okay, that's good.
See what I did? Subtraction will kick your butt.
Doesn't seem
If
that
you want to write it again, you can write it again up here. 5x and a negative 3x is 2x, and a 4 plus 8 is a 12. Oh, we're not done yet. I told you this is tough.
Oh,
Last step is always,
reduce.
that means when you have a polynomial, you got to factor.
No.
What can we factor out of 2x and a 12?
2.
A 2, right? A 2 goes in 2 and 12.
X
So if
minus
I pull a 2 out, what are you left with? See what I did? For those of you who can't wrap your head around it, what times 2 is 2x? X. What times 2 is 12? 6. Positive 6. I factored it. Why did I do that? Because look, I've got 2 and a 10 now. I can reduce that. What goes into 2 and 10?
2.
So the 2 cancels, and the 10 turns into a So what's the final answer?
5 times x plus 6.
No, read what's there.
X plus 6.
That's the answer. That's a lot of work for just a simple subtraction where you have common denominators. We didn't even do any work there, really, because we had common denominators.
I don't want
Yet I did, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps just to get to an answer of adding two fractions. A lot of work. Addition with common denominators, it's really simple, right? Just add the two numerators, rewrite the denominator. You still might have to factor to reduce. Subtraction, the key is you take everything and what you're subtracting, write the opposite. Negative 3x plus 8. Okay? All right. Hey, looks weirder, but we still have common denominators, yes? So if you have common denominators, what are you supposed to do? I just add the numerators. 3 plus 1 is?
Yeah, that's definitely it.
The reason why you're done on this one is because there's nothing to factor out. I can't factor out anything other than 4 and x plus 4. Nothing goes in there other than 1.
So
Okay.
this one,
4 into 4.
what do we just do?
You can do 4 and a 4, but there's nothing to cancel it out with, right? All right. So I'm not going to show you any more of the easier ones with common denominators. I do want you got to remember the subtraction one. You got to remember this part right here. We will see it again for when we get common denominators, but just remember for subtraction, there's this extra little bit of work you got to do. All right. It turns out that the harder ones, the ones where we got common denominators, there's some tricks involved. Okay. I'm going to show you the first one. It's not going to look like you have common denominators, and you don't, but there's a trick that you can do to make it really easy. There's only, I think, one of them tonight for homework. All right, so these are the challenging ones, okay? I'll get the tricky one out of the way first. You're only going to see it one time, and we've already seen it once. I've only shown you one quote-quote math trick, and it's this trick again. Common denominators are not common denominators.
Oh,
But they're awfully close, right? I got an x, and I got a
3 minus x.
negative x. I got a negative 3, and they're almost common denominators. Remember the trick?
Yeah.
What's the trick?
You like times it by negative 1.
I multiply one of the fractions by negative 1 over negative 1. This is only a trick when you get denominators that are really, really, really close together. I mean, if I put up parentheses and a 2 here, not going to do this trick. But when the denominators, I forget which number it is. When they're really close together, they're just kind of like opposites of each other. We use this trick. It doesn't matter which fraction you pick, first one or the second one. I even forget which one. I think I picked the second one. Okay, I'm going to pick one of them, and I'm going to multiply it by negative 1 over negative 1. What's negative 1 divided by negative 1?
0.
Not 0. So I'm really just multiplying by 1. I'm not changing anything. I'm choosing. This is a trick. 7 times negative 1.
-7.
What happens when you multiply negative 1 times this?
Positive.
It changes
Negative
this to a
3 plus x.
negative, it changes that to a positive. Now we have common denominators. Check it out. I got a negative 3 and a negative 3. I got a positive x and a positive x. This happens very infrequently, but it is a trick that you can use. Okay, so what did I do? I saw that the two denominators are really close, but not the same. So I use this trick. I pick one of these, and it doesn't matter which one you pick. And you multiply top and bottom by negative 1. So now I rewrote the second one as this, and now I have common denominators. Got an x and an x and negative 3 and negative 3. 2 plus negative 7.
5.
Yeah. Okay. This is number.
6. 5.
This is number. Is it 14? This is number 14 and number 16. Okay. So you're just going to pick one of them. You're going to multiply by negative 1, top and bottom. We good? All right. Now we'll get to the more challenging ones. We'll start with a medium one before we get to the really challenging one. Hey, you've seen this before. What's the common denominator?
4.
Definitely not 4.
No.
You can't have a common denominator smaller than either one of them. 32, 18 doesn't go on 32.
36.
Count by 18.
36.
Well, 18 is your first one. Does 4 go into
It's
18?
36.
36. Does 4 go into 36?
Yes.
All right, you found the common denominator, 36. Okay, so 36 is your common denominator. Back 4th, 5th grade, when you first learned this, okay, a little bit of scratch work. What times 4 is 36?
No, sorry.
9. So we need to multiply top and bottom by. That's not too bad. 9 times A. And that gives me a 36. If you need to write it out, this is what the scratch work would look like. Okay? And by the way, this is what your homework was. This is why they had you do it if you were wondering yesterday. Why did I do that? Right? Because you use it the very next day. So they're saying, what times 4 is 36? Does it seem familiar from yesterday? Or last night homework? Multiply top and bottom times 9, so we get 9A. There's your first fraction. This one is what that one turns into. That's its equivalency, or its equivalent fraction. Hey, this was the part where I said, hey, gotta work. This is box 6. Second fraction, a little bit more ugly. What times 18 is 36?
2.
So top and bottom times 2. Some of you can do this really quickly in your head. Others, you got to think about this. Kaylee, can you do that quickly in your head? Yes, you can. Two times that. How much? 2 times 5. 2 times 12A. All we're doing is distributive property. So 10 plus 24A. Now occasionally, because this is so messy and there's stuff running around your page right here, sometimes what you might want to do is put, I don't know, a box or a circle around the two things so you can at least see what you're supposed to write. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. It's meaty, right? We got to rewrite it and then we got to add. If this had been a subtraction, this one, then we would flip-flop signs. Okay? But we're adding, so I don't need to do that. So I'm going to rewrite. I'm looking at my two boxes. Well, they both have a 36, and so it's 9A plus 10 plus 24A. See what it did? The rest is kind of just comes together. 9A and 24A
33A.
plus 10. The last thing you got to do is ask yourself, can it be factored? Does anything go into 33 and 10? Other than 1. So it's factored, you're done. Occasionally this will be able to be factored. So you factor, and then usually what happens is something cancels with the 36.
And we can't reduce it.
You can't, this one can't be reduced, Julie. Because we didn't multiply, we added. Right? I'm adding a 9 and a 24. The way I like to just say 9 apples plus 24 apples, you don't get apples squared, you get 33 apples. It's not the correct math analogy, but it's close. Okay, a lot of work just to add two tiny little fractions together. Subtraction is the one you got to be careful with. Remember, it's going to flip-flop these signs. We don't know what those numbers are because we don't have common denominators. So this is the same problem. Is it the same problem? Yeah. Well, it's close to it. I'm just doing subtraction. So we already know the common denominator. The common denominator is 36. Okay, this is box 7. So the common denominator was 36. Well, I already know the first one. That was easy. What times 4 is 36? So 9 times A is 9A. The second one, we're still going to get the common denominator first, and then we'll flip-flop signs. You actually could flip-flop signs from the start if you wanted to. All right, what times 18 is 36? 2. So you're distributing this 2 to the inside, and you would get?
Sorry, what?
You're distributing the 2 to the inside?
6 negative 24A.
Okay. I put boxes around each one just so I can keep it straight.
When do we change?
Where's my other box?
When do we change the signs?
Now is when we would change the signs. Okay, so it's this minus this. Okay, this minus this. I put in parentheses. Most people would probably flip it when they wrote it, which is fine. right? But if you, I had to put it up here just so I can remind you. Hey, flip-flop the signs, Porter.
-6. Okay, so -9.
No, you said it right. -6.
-6 and then plus 24.
Okay, so I flip-flop the signs. Like I said, what Josie was asking is, when do I flip-flop the signs? There's a lot of you out there, I'm not sure why I didn't put a box there. A lot of you out there, as soon as you wrote this, when you rewrote it, you would immediately go to this step right here. Because you say, oh, I got to flip-flop these signs. -6 to positive 24. This only gets flip-flopped because we're subtracting. 9 and 24 is still 33. Can we factor? Does anything go into 33 and 6? Nothing goes into 33 and 6?
6.
No. 3. Right? 3 goes into 33 and it also goes into 6. So I'm going to factor out of 3. And I didn't write the steps. I'm going to factor out of 3. That would give me what? 11a minus 2. All over 36. Yes? I'm taking a 3 out of 33 and 6. Why? Because it can be factored. Now I've got a 3 over 36. Hey, they go into each other. We can cancel. The 3 would cancel, and the 36 would turn into somebody.
8.
Not 8.
9.
12. Okay? Which is why the final answer is there. I'm not sure why I left that step out. It's the animations there. I just got them out of work because
Does it get
there's
harder
no
than
boxes.
this?
What?
Does it get harder?
It will. The last one is really hard. Oh, by the way, there's plenty tonight for homework that look like this, right? There's none the homework look like the last one. Oh, there's my box. Now you can. All right. Okay, we okay? Those were actually the easy ones. All right. So reminder again, no adding, subtracting. That's the ones we've done so far. Adding, subtracting. So we got to do some of these. These are the hard ones. They're not hard. It's messy. All right. So here we go. Okay, common denominators. Adding, no adding. 2 and 8. Common denominator, 2 and 8. I need everything. 8x squared is the common denominator. How did I get that? 2 and 8 is 8. And I need every variable that's up there to the highest power, that's x squared. So 8x squared. Okay, this one's not that hard. We do have subtraction, so we got to be careful. When you only have one thing in the top, you don't have to worry about subtraction. It'll work out fine. It's when you have multiple, an expression in the top that you got to worry about. Okay, so each fraction separately. What times 2 is 8?
4.
What times x is x squared?
X.
So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4x. Stop me if you don't get that part. What times 2 is 8? So I need a 4. What times x is x squared?
X.
So I need an x, top and bottom. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4x. Here's nice and pretty. Okay? What's 3 times 4x?
12x.
So this fraction, 12x over 8x squared. Second fraction. Hey, it's already the common denominator, 8x squared. I didn't do nothing to it. So I need to take this and subtract that. That, subtract that. Like I said, the reason why we don't have to be on our toes for subtraction here is only one thing here. Okay, flip-flop 1, it's -1. Can you factor anything out of a 12 and a 1 besides 1? So there's nothing to factor. I said that was a hard one. That one was too hard. Let's do it. Oh, say again? Yes? No? All right, here's the painful one. Okay, it's the last one. And then what we'll do is we'll pick a couple from homework and we'll do them together. But we're going to pick the painful ones, not the easy ones. All right, so this is as painful as it gets. There's none like this for homework. We got to get common denominator, right? So the common denominator, ugly, ugly. So when you have addition or subtraction to the denominator, we're going to factor. what goes into a squared and a? Okay, so I'm going to pull out an a, and this is going to turn into a and a minus 2. I factored it. Hey, this is one of those special case ones. A minus 2, a plus 2. So there's both denominators fully factored. They're sitting right smack here. To get a common denominator, I want everything. I got an a, I want an a. Is there another a to a higher power?
No.
So it's just a. I got an a minus 2. Is there another a minus 2 to a higher power? So I want a minus 2. Here's an a plus 2. Is there any other a plus 2? If there was, if this said a plus 2 to the third power, I'd want a plus 2 to the third power. You're not going to see that until algebra 2. So I want an a. I want an a minus 2.
Excuse me?
Yes, ma'am.
May I have Lily for dismissal?
She's on her way.
Thank you.
We got homework. And we got an a plus 2. So there's your common denominator. A minus 2, a plus 2. All of that. This was the Porter thing that we did yesterday. Right? So the Porter thing that we did yesterday that I think we're going to find out here in a second was I said this. I drew this, and I drew this, and I said, what's missing? And Porter immediately said the smile. And then I did it with math, and he was like, I don't know what's going on. What I'm asking you to do is this, really, literally. You're going to look at two things and tell me what is missing. You can do this, right? So here's my common denominator, okay? Here's the first fraction. You see it? A minus 3. Here's it factored. Here's the new common denominator. This is the smiley face thing. Porter, look at this and look at this denominator. Tell me what's missing on this side.
You do it. Yeah. A plus 2. Come on, it's right there.
I see an A, I see an A. I see an A minus 2, I see A minus 2.
A minus 3.
I'm missing an A plus 2.
What? We did it right, Porter.
Wait, what? We're missing A.
I'm missing an A plus 2.
Okay.
Okay? Now, is anyone lost on that? Because that really is all we're asking you to do is just find out what's missing. This is actually the harder step. This is the easy step. What you're missing is what we're going to multiply top and bottom by. What am I missing? An A plus 2. That's what I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by. A plus 2. Okay? Well, the bottom's already done for you. I got to multiply A minus 3 times 8. This is hard. I like the stacking method. You guys don't, apparently. A plus 2. That's going to give me negative 6. That's going to give me a 2A. That's going to give me a minus 3A. And that's going to give me an A squared. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 2 times A is 2A. 2 times negative 3, negative 3A. A times A is A squared. That's going to give me an A squared minus A minus 6. Okay? When I multiply this times that, right? That's what I get. If you cancel out, then you don't have common denominators. Remember, we want common denominators. Okay, first one is done. Now we do the second one. Here's the second one, factored. Porter, what are we missing? There you go.
Porter.
So what are we going to multiply top and bottom by? The thing we're missing. What are we missing? So I multiply top and bottom by A. A times A is A squared. A times negative 4 is negative 4A. All I'm doing is a distributive property. I don't know if you see it, but the two blue things are the two new fractions. I told you this is painful. We've got subtraction involved. So the second one, we're going to flip signs. Notice how small the spots are right now? That's why this is painful. I need all of this just to add those two silly little fractions together.
How about I use the hack? It's called.
What is that?
Calculator won't actually do this, but
Google search.
all right. Here we go. Here's my first fraction. I'm going to write it. Here's my first fraction. I'm going to write it. Here's my second fraction. I put a minus in front of it. I could have flipped the signs if I wanted to instead of rewriting like this.
Is that going to be on the title?
So now I'm going to flip the sign. Yeah, I'll put one of these in. That's going to give you a minus A squared. That's going to give me a positive 4A. Okay? All right. The nice thing is some stuff is now going to go away. Check it out. I got an a squared, and I got a, no, I don't. I got an a squared, and I got a, those go away. I got a minus a and a, 4a minus a is, and I got a minus 6. Okay? We're not done. Okay? Because the top can be factored.
Holy crap.
What comes out of 3a and 6? I'm going to factor a 3 out of the top. I'm going to factor a 3 out of this, 3 out of this. Now what do you notice? Now, Julie or whoever said, now we can, or it was Hannah. What are we left with? And I don't have any room to write the answer, right? I'm going to put it over there. There's your answer. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to do this a lot in Algebra 2, right? I can't give you 20 of these to do. I mean, this takes a lot of time. And just so you know, I'm not giving you one of these tonight for homework. All the previous ones are ones for homework. All right, open up your books.
I don't know where my books
The book, let's see, 2 through 30s. There's not a single one like the one that we just did, but there's some other ones that are, I don't think any of them are that challenging. Okay?
Can we do 20?
All right, Rylan is going to pick one. So it's just 2 through 30.
30.
All right, so Rylan is making the assumption that the last one should be the hardest one. It's a pretty good assumption.
It usually is the best assumption because when they're hard.
So we're going to do number 30. Here's a free one. Copy this down. All right. I need a white sheet. There we go. So number 30 says 2m over 5 minus m plus 4 over 4 plus 2 minus m
Over 10.
over 10. Okay? What's common denominator? What do 5, 4, and 10 go into?
20.
20. Okay? So I need to turn everything into a 20, or the bottom number into 20. So I'm going to write 2m. Now, some of you would be doing this in your head. That's fine. 8 and what times 5 is 20?
4.
So I multiply top and bottom by 4. So what's 4 times 2m? 8. There, very good. There's my first fraction. My second fraction, I'm going to ignore the minus sign for a second. I'm just going to write m plus 4 over 4. What times 4 is 20? Top and bottom times 5. Be careful. Distributive property. 5m plus. Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. I was looking at this 5. I'm like, why is she saying 20? It's 25. Okay. All right. And the last one is 2 minus m over 10. What are we multiplying by? 2 times 2. 4m minus 2m. I'm out of space over 20. There are my 3 things. All right. Over here. First one says 8m over 20. I'm going to subtract 5m plus 20 over 20. And then I'm going to add, which nobody can read. What was it? 4m?
4m.
What was it?
I think it's just
4m
Minus. We're multiplying by 2. 2m.
It's just 4 minus
4 minus 2m. Yes. There you go. All over 20. Of those, we just got to be careful with this one. It's a subtraction. So what is it going to do to everything on the inside?
Flip the side.
So 5m is now going to become negative, and the 20 is going to become a negative as well too. Okay. So I'm going to write everything that's now on the top. I got an 8m, then I got a minus 5m, then I got a minus 20, and then I got a plus 4, I got a minus 2m. That's a lot of writing all over 20. You okay?
No.
You okay?
No, my head hurts. This hurts. Everything
I
hurts.
told you what? I wasn't lying when I said this was the tough class.
I don't even know what the answer is.
We're not there yet.
Oh, I was trying to look for the answer. Like, wait, which one's like? We need to put like numbers. Like that's step 1, that's step 2, that's step 3.
It goes left to right in the background.
Yeah,
Read it like a book.
I messed that one up.
It's Jap. It's
Order is correct though. I did write it like a book.
It's gonna
But
go.
then you went down and then came back.
Okay, we got 8m minus 5m, which is
3 M,
minus 2m,
1 M.
or just m. So we're left with just an m. So that's gone, and that's gone.
Minus 16.
Minus 20 plus 4 is
Minus 16.
all over.
Then I'm getting
So that's the answer.
We do 20. How much time do we have left?
We got enough time to do 20.
Wait, can I make a restatement? I don't want to do 20. I want to do 12 later.
I will say, as I look at this, I think 22 is the hardest one.
Let's
I
do
know,
I do
20.
20.
Oh, no, you're going to do that one.
What?
Let's
20, let's do 20.
do. I can't be your teacher.
No, don't.
All right. Number 20, 4 over 3xy. This is actually pretty easy. 4 over 3xy. And from that, we're adding or subtracting. We're adding 3 over 2x squared. All right, I'll try to do this one in order now. All right. What do 3 and 2 go into?
6.
So I know there's going to be a 6. This is the common denominator. CD is equal to. I said I want every variable to the highest power. Chris, which variables are up there in the denominator?
There's X.
Okay, I want x to the highest power. So that would be,
X squared.
are there any other variables?
Y.
That is your common denominator, 6x squared y. Okay? I still got to do scratch work over here. So for Rylan, I'm doing scratch work over here.
Okay.
Steps are over there, scratch work over here.
Yeah, for you.
So I need to turn in 4 over 3xy into 6x squared y. You ready?
Times it by 2.
What times 3 is 6?
2.
So I'm going to have a times 2, but what times x is x squared?
2. I'm at X.
And what times y is y?
0.
1. We'll get on the 1. So we just need to basically multiply by 2x. What's 4 times 2x?
8x.
So this turns into 8x over the common denominator, 6x squared y. Okay? Second fraction, 3 over 2x squared, and we're turning that into 6x squared y. What times 2 is 6?
3.
What times x squared is x squared?
1.
What times this is y?
5.
So all we got to multiply is by 3y. 3y times 2x squared is 6x squared y. What's 3 times 3y?
9.
There's your fraction. And it's a plus 9y over 6x squared y. A lot of you probably wouldn't even write this because as soon as you get these two things, just add them together. Can you add an x and a y together?
No.
So it's just 8x plus 9y over 6x squared y. The only thing you got to ask yourself is, can anything be factored out? Well, the bottom is already factored, but the top has got an 8 and a 9. Can anything factor out of an 8 and a 9? Well, you're done. That's it. I think that was kind of a medium. What now? There's nothing to reduce it by. Remember, when we reduce it by, we're asking ourselves what could go into everything. There's nothing that goes into 8, 9, and a 6. There's nothing that goes into an x. Well, this one doesn't have an x. This one does. All right. Hey, when we get to student advisement, make sure you try these. If you want to work together, pick a smart kid
Josie.
to work with.
I know you are. I just looked at you. That's why I went with you. I was lost in the first step.
All right, e-learners. Hey, Ellie, are you here? No, she's not here. Okay, we'll end it right here.
I don't think they can get in.
What?
No, why, later. Never mind.
Calculate.